The Nissan Murano is all new for 2025, starting its 4th generation. Now, we have obviously got new styling here. We've also got some new tech and comfort features that we've never seen before on the Murano lineup. The bad news is that they've removed a few options that we really liked from the middle trim for 2025. The front end is obviously all new. It does bear some family resemblance to the Ariya, Nissan's new EV, especially with this super high belt line. And obviously we've got some horizontal styling elements here. That's not the only reason that this looks wider than the old Murano though. It actually is 3 inches wider. It also has an extra 1.4 inches of ground clearance if that's something that's useful to you in the way that you use your Murano. Now, one thing I want to point out, speaking of horizontal design elements, is this sort of wing shape to the DRLs. I don't hate it. I actually think it looks pretty good here, but what bugs me is that this is among the most salient features at the front end, and we have seen this before on a crossover with the Hyundai Tucson. So again, I think this is a better execution. I just don't like that something so standout doesn't feel very original. Now, another styling element that I associate with the Tucson is this chrome arch. The way that it goes just along the top of the windows, the way it crosses with this black trim element, and even the way that it widens towards the back, those are all things that we do see on the Tucson. So again, just not super original. Now, 20-inch wheels are standard for the 2025 Murano, and the Platinum trim gets this 21-inch style. I don't love the design. It kind of looks to me like a mandolin chopper, maybe guitar strings with a fret, but kudos to Nissan for trying something new, and I do like that it's a 7-spoke, kind of asymmetrical. I think that's kind of cool. Now for 2024, the base trim got 18-inch wheels, and then the middle and top got 20s. So if you subscribe to that apparently very popular bigger is better philosophy around wheels, this is definitely an improvement. At the back, again, we can see super high belt line and a little bit of the same styling that we get on the Ariya. I do want to say I love this color, Aurora Blue Pearl. I think if you want a color that stands out a little bit, this falls more on the sophisticated side of the spectrum as opposed to loud, and it manages to avoid looking super 90s, which is impressive. Fans of the show Friends might remember that scene where Ross needs an excuse to get on stage at a stranger's wedding, so he pretends to make an announcement about a blue Buick LeSabre.
1995 Buick LeSabre. Your car is about to be towed.
Someone says, "That's mine."
That's my car.
He goes, "I'm sorry, I mean a green Buick LeSabre."
A green LeSabre?
Yes.
And the guy says, "Yes, green blue."
Green blue.
Because that is a super 90s color, but this dodged that bullet. Compared with the outgoing Murano, this interior is definitely sleeker and more modern. We've got a lot of slim horizontal elements to the dash where it used to be a lot bulkier and swoopier with that cowl. So this is definitely leaning modern. We've even got the 2 screens in a single housing, which is very trendy right now. This Murano glass inspired effect we've got on the dash and inside the door cards, and I really like it. It becomes standard at the SL trim level. I especially like it with this color combo. We've got our Aurora Blue Pearl outside and ivory caramel interior, and this gives this nice ombre effect, like we're fading from the outside color to the inside color. So I think it looks great. It's a welcome alternative to piano black plastic. We do still have a little bit of piano black here and down here where we now have a push button shifter instead of the old gear shift lever style. I don't hate that. It's not a lot of it, and it's not unpleasant to touch, so that doesn't bother me. I also like that the push button shifter has freed up space in the center console. Normally I'm a fan of the gear shift, but this makes room, for example, for a standard wireless charging pad, which is really nice. This is all pretty streamlined, and we've got the pass-through down here, so that's cool. Materials overall are nice. I really like that we have light blue contrast stitching along the center console and here inside the door, but this stitching is tan, so that feels like a really nice attention to detail to me. Same thing on the seats, light blue here. These are genuine leather on this Platinum trim, and we've got some pretty substantial quilting as well. So I think this is really nice. My one materials complaint is that the SL trim used to also come with genuine leather. That's the middle trim. Now it's been downgraded to leatherette, so that's not ideal. But back to these seats. These are Nissan's zero gravity seats, and they are very comfortable. I really like them. Murano does come standard with front seat heating and power adjustability, which is great. And then this platinum trim also has massage and ventilation functions up front. The massage is really noisy, so I'm going to turn it on. There it is, you can hear it. It makes a lot of noise. It does have a dedicated button right down here, so super easy to reach. The other seat functions do not have dedicated buttons. You have to go into the screen here to turn on your ventilation, your heating, or you can use Google Voice Assistant, which has been pretty reliable for that function, so that's nice. Turn on the driver's seat ventilation.
Got it. Turning on seat fan for the driver.
Climate control does have dedicated buttons. They're here integrated into this wood grain, wood texture panel. So they kind of hide away when the car is off, which is nice. They just require the gentlest tap and they give you a little feedback, but you don't have to actually push it like that. So pretty good. Back here, the seats are not quite as cushy as what we have up front, but they're still pretty comfortable. Legroom is not great, and I know it looks like plenty behind my driving position, but I'm 5'2", 5'3"-ish. It's not awesome, and I'm basing that largely on the numbers. It's actually shrunk by 2.4 inches compared to the previous generation of the Murano, so not exactly heading in the direction we want it to be. It's 36.3 inches of legroom here. We can compare that to 37.1 in the Toyota Crown Signia or 39.6 in the Honda Passport, so that's obviously the best out of those three. Now, headroom with the panoramic moonroof, which is standard on SL and Platinum trims, we're looking at 37.9 inches with it, 39.7 without. So we're close to the Toyota Crown Signia with the moonroof. We're better than the Crown Signia without. We're a little bit behind the Honda Passport though on both. If we talk about front seat space, headroom and legroom are better in this than in any of the competitors I've mentioned, and better than the Chevy Blazer as well. We've got 32.9 cubic feet of cargo space behind the rear seats, so that's second only to the Passport, but we've got 63.5 with them folded, and the Crown Signia and the Chevy Blazer beat that as well. However, this has a standard power liftgate, which is not true of the Blazer, and it even becomes foot activated at the Platinum trim level. Two more things in the back seat, a rose and a thorn. The rose is that we have heated rear seats in this Platinum level, which I'm very much enjoying on a day like today. The thorn is that this is just gray plastic ridged. So I guess I like that it's textured, but we don't have any of that Murano glass back here, and I kind of wish that we did. This makes it feel a little bit cheaper. So now on to more impressions from behind the wheel. New year, new generation, new powertrain for the Murano. So we now have an inline turbocharged 4-cylinder and a 9-speed automatic transmission. I don't think anyone is really going to miss the CVT from the previous generation, but some people might wish that it still had a V6. And I do have to comment that according to the EPA, fuel economy is not improved. It's exactly the same combined, so still 23 miles per gallon. Not really getting that benefit of the switch to the 4-cylinder, but this is a torquier engine. We've got 241 horsepower and 260 pound-feet of torque. So we've basically reversed our horsepower and torque numbers from last year. And what that should mean is that this is going to be a little bit quicker from 0 to 60, if that's something that you care about for your Murano. Now, something else that's different powertrain-wise is that we used to be able to choose between front-wheel drive and all-wheel drive for all trims. Now that's only true for the base because the SL and the Platinum are both all-wheel drive only. The transmission is a little bit clunky, especially from the first to second gear. Those 1-2 shifts, even when it's warmed up, can be a little bit rough, which I did find surprising, but overall, it's a totally fine driving experience. I was actually worried that visibility was going to be a problem because the beltline is so obviously high. You can really see that from the outside. But I have been able to get my seat high enough that I can see over the hood just as well as I could in any crossover. Not really having a problem. Over my shoulder is fine. This does also have the invisible hood view that comes in the higher trim, so that gives you a little bit extra sight line at low speeds. You get that camera feed coming in so you can see what's underneath the vehicle, which is nice. It also gets a more advanced version of the intelligent around view monitor for the higher trims with added moving object detection. So some extra technological support. My biggest complaint visibility wise is actually for the rear. We've got this super narrow rear windshield, and I've had a hard time adjusting the rear view mirror so that I'm getting a perfect view through it while also sitting up as high as I want to. That's been my biggest sort of ergonomic issue in here. Active noise cancellation is standard on the 2025 Murano. Because I have the Bose audio system, I get an enhanced version. So that's true of the SL and Platinum. And it's doing a fine job. It's definitely not super noisy in here. What I'm not sure of is what the base version would be like and how effective it would be at noise cancellation. But for the middle and top trims, it's good. It's comfortable. It's not noisy. Every new Murano gets this pair of 12.3-inch screens in the single housing as discussed, and they do come with standard wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, which is really nice. Also standard wireless charging, which I've mentioned. You also get 2 USB-C ports up here and 2 in the back, so it's the same number as what we had for 2024, but that was a mix of USB-A and USB-C, and now we're fully into this modern era of USB-C ports. Starting with the middle SL trim, you get Google built-in, so that means native Google Maps, which is awesome, and also Google Voice. So again, one of the big things I've been using that for is to avoid going into the screen to change my seat heater or seat ventilation. Just have Google do it for you. Now this middle trim is also where you get the 10-speaker Bose audio system, replacing the base 6-speaker system, and you get 64-color ambient lighting, which is pretty sweet. I've set mine up front for this sort of teal color to match the dash, but you have 63 other options as well. So what this means with these things starting at the middle trim level is that there's not a lot to differentiate the Platinum trim in terms of tech offerings. The only thing that it has that I would qualify as tech is a head-up display. That's the only thing you can't get on the SL trim. So if that's important to you, might be a reason to upgrade. One interesting thing is that on the Armada, Nissan's full-size, top-of-the-line SUV, the head-up display is always an extra cost option, even on the tippy-top trim, so it's kind of cool that they threw it in on one of the Muranos. The Nissan Safety Shield 360 suite of advanced driver assistance features is standard for 2025, as it was for 2024, so that means we still have lane departure warning, blind spot warning, rear cross traffic alert, and automatic emergency braking with pedestrian detection. What's new is that for 2025, even the base Murano comes with Pro Pilot Assist, so that combines intelligent cruise control with steering assist and takes some of the burden off of the driver. If you get a higher trim, you're going to get Pro Pilot Assist 1.1. That incorporates navigation data to anticipate curves and adjust the vehicle's speed accordingly. So a little bit more assistance for the driver. Basically what this means is that every Murano is going to get intelligent cruise control, adaptive cruise control in other words, with steering assist. Only the higher trims are going to be able to respond to things other than other vehicles on the road to help adjust the speed. There is not a true hands-free driving assistance system available for the Murano at this point in time. If that's something that you're looking for from this class, your best bet is probably going to be the Hyundai Santa Fe with Highway Driving Assist 2, because even the Chevy Blazer does not get GM's Super Cruise system. The 2025 Nissan Murano starts at $41,860 with destination, and it only costs $1,000 to upgrade to all-wheel drive, which is among the lower premiums that I've seen for an all-wheel drive powertrain. It's also only up by $1,000 to $1,700 depending on your trim level from last year, which as price hikes for new generations go is pretty darn reasonable. Of course, we did cover a few things that I would consider feature or options downgrades at some trim levels, which obviously is not what you want, but overall this is pretty well equipped and it looks good. Top trim base price is $50,990 with destination. Mine, as tested today, all in, comes to $51,415. There are so many options in this class that I cannot possibly discuss them all in an amount of time that would retain any reasonable person's attention. And if you're still here to hear me say that, thank you for sticking around. Why don't you toss a comment so we know it's you? Really appreciate that. So I'm going to focus today on 3 competitors that Nissan reps identified as key members of their competitive set. That would be the Chevy Blazer, the Honda Passport, and the Toyota Crown Signia. The Blazer has the largest pricing spectrum, ranging from $36,795 to $47,595. Passport starts at $43,795 and goes up to $49,865, and the Crown Signia, with just 2 trims, is priced at either $44,985 or $49,385. So the new Murano is the second most affordable at the low end, but it's also the only one that exceeds $50,000 with destination. Of course, that's a little bit of an arbitrary benchmark when others are getting so close. This does get better fuel economy than the Passport at up to 23 miles per gallon combined. The Blazer with front-wheel drive is rated for up to 25. Then, of course, the Crown Signia has a standard hybrid powertrain, so that's not quite a fair comparison. It's rated for 38 miles per gallon combined, even with all-wheel drive. Now, if you're shopping for any of these, we've got all the information you need, from full video reviews here, written reviews over at CarGurus.com, and of course, our real-time price trends and unbiased deal ratings. Make sure you do your shopping with us, but please subscribe to this channel before you go.